Hi everyone, I'm Sam Barsky. Today, I'm first of all I'm going to wish you a happy new year. Just a second, and secondly, I'm going to show you what I'm working on now. This is the I raisin sweater, my grapevine sweater that I'm working on. I have the back of it done already, and I'm reaching the conclusion of the front of it. So first of all, what I'm wearing now, this is my Times Square sweater over here. I was a little torn this year because normally I have my Hanukkah sweaters. I'm sure most of you have seen a lot of those already. And I normally wear them throughout the 8 days of Hanukkah, switching them off a lot. And then I have this, my Times Square sweater for New Year's and like the couple of days before and after. But this year I ran into a little dilemma that Hanukkah and New Year's have coincided. Last night was the final night of Hanukkah, and today, up until sunset, was the final day. So what I did today was I wore my Hanukkah sweater, which I only get to wear these 8 days of the year during the daytime, and now that it's the evening, now that Hanukkah is over, I switched to my Times Square sweater, and I'm going to wear this tomorrow also. I'm going to a knitting group tomorrow in the middle of the day, so I'll wear it there. Someone just said hi to me. So anyway, what I'm working on now to welcome in the new year, I'm still doing work on my grapevine sweater, but simultaneously I'm going to work on the beginnings of a Martin Luther King sweater. Both of them have deadlines of mid-January. And the Martin Luther King sweater, I know I can get it done pretty quickly because I'm using size 11 needles for that. And it's also going to be a sweater for only a few days of the year. I'm going to wear it on the actual day of Martin Luther King's Day and maybe like some of the days surrounding the holiday. I'm making it to honor Dr. King and to honor the holiday as well. For many years I've thought of doing a Martin Luther King sweater, and I asked a whole bunch of people on Facebook last year what it should include, and I decided it would have an image of the I have a dream speech. So anyway, so what I've done here is I finished that row here, and I have only one more raisin to complete here. It's about halfway done. In the next row, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to introduce the arms of it. This will be the last time I'm using this brown yarn. And I have only 4 more rows to do on here before I start introducing the purple yarn that I'm going to use for this guy, the light purple yarn. I'm using like a dark purple maroon yarn for the raisins, and this is the color I'm using at the top. So after I have just 4 more rows to do in this solid orange, and then I'm going to introduce that at the corners and gradually taper it toward the center before I use it in the whole rows. So in about 16 more rows, I'll be using only one color for the rest of the sweater, which will be that light purple. So I'm going to do this row and maybe another row in this video. My wife is on her way home from work, and I want to end the video before she gets home so I can greet her. So this is stuck in that stitch, but I'll show you what I do as I work my way toward the raisin. I'm just doing the plain old knit stitch now. So I hope everyone had a good New Year's Eve last night. My wife and I, we decided not to have a party in our home this year, which we have done a lot in recent years because, number one, we just got back from our trip to Israel 2 weeks ago, and we're still somewhat tired from that. And the other thing is, we've had poor attendance at them, and whenever we've done them, because we're competing with other people in town for New Year's parties. So we decided this year we wouldn't do a New Year's party in our home. We would just have it the 2 of us. Well, anyway, what I'm doing here, I'm stopping 4 stitches of the short of the raisin, and then I'm going to, this is for the arm, I'm introducing the arm. So I'm just going to do one stitch here. I'm going to leave this on each end for a tail this about this length. I'm adding about this much more to one end of it to do 4 more stitches in the next row. And then the next 3 stitches come in this orange. And then, as I've shown before, I do ribbing on the raisin. So this alternates between a knit and a purl stitch. And then I'm going to do an arm on the other side. The reason why I'm doing ribbing on the raisin is to make it look wrinkly like a real raisin is. Especially the California raisins, which are big, they have wrinkles in them, just like the real thing. So now I'm going to do 3 more stitches in this orange. And then I'm going to take the brown again. This is the last brown I'll use in this entire sweater. I'm going to introduce a stitch. So what I'm going to do, I insert the needle as if I'm doing any knit stitch, but before the next step, I take this, drape it over, and then pull the orange off, and here I have a stitch of brown. Then I'm going to take, since it's the only stitch of brown in this row, I'm going to take the orange between the 2 ends of the brown like this. It goes between them, and then I'm going to just knit with it the next stitch, and then this is orange till the end of the row. You have to be careful when you're in this situation. If I were to put the project aside for now, the brown could very easily get accidentally pulled out with like an accidental yank over here. So you have to watch that very carefully when you only have 1 stitch of a color. But right now I'm going to do another row which will stabilize it and prevent that. And this is a purl row, so you'll get to see the project facing you. So now I'm going to purl up until this brown stitch here, and the next 4 stitches will be in brown. So what I'm going to do now is the brown, the feeder brown, the longer one will go under the orange, and then I'll take this tail and go over both this orange and the brown, and then I'm going to purl another stitch. So now I don't have to worry about this falling out anymore. And then I'm going to do 3 more stitches in brown, and I've gotten an arm just like over here. And then I'm going to start doing this is like ribbing, so I'm going to do a knit and a purl, and then another knit and purl, just like that, throughout the raisin. And then I'll show you what I do when I get to the end of here, because I have more brown to work with. I have orange stitches here, but on top of them, all of them is going to be brown. So I'm going to take the longer end of the brown here, very carefully, not to yank it. Go under both the orange and the maroon here, and I'm going to purl a stitch with it. That's going to be in brown. And then I'm going to take it under both the orange and brown again, and purl another stitch underneath. Since I want to move the orange over, I'm going to go under just the orange this time. I'm going to purl another stitch here, and then go under the orange again. But since I'm where I initiated it and I want to stable, I'm going to close it. I'm going to cross this brown over this orange, just purl this stitch, pull the tail tight, and that's the last brown stitch I have to do on this entire sweater. And given that's the case, I'm just going to take this feeder yarn here, leave about half an arm's length here, break it off. Since this yarn breaks easily, I don't need that anymore. Toss it aside. I'm done with it for this entire sweater. And now with this orange, I'm going to just purl to the end of the row. It's that easy. Well, this orange I'll explain the situation with it, it's a discontinued color of this line of yarn, which is still being produced in many different colors, and I only could get so much in the Baltimore area that the local yarn shops had, and I needed more, and I looked on Ravelry and couldn't get it there, so I put out on Facebook that I needed some, and one of my friends in Massachusetts found a yarn shop there that carried some, so I ordered it over the phone. I called up that yarn shop and had it shipped to me. I actually got a lot more than I needed in case it'll come in handy some other day since I can't get it again. This is the box I received the other day of it. And I have plenty of skeins of it in here. Here it is. Someone just asked me how many stitches are on the needle. I have 90. This is, when I use size 9 needles and make something in my size, it's standard. I do 90 stitches across. I used to do 140, now I do 160 rows vertically because I've gotten bigger over the years. I've gained some weight, so I find that I need to make them longer vertically. So now I do 100. It's an extra 40 rows of the 90 stitches on each sweater, but it's worth it. So here I've got it. Now I just have to do half the raisin. It'll include the eyes, and then I'm going to be done. I'm going to end the video now. Thank you everyone for all your time, and Happy New Year everyone. Bye.